Why don't you talk into the
Then why does it make my blood
microphone?
boil so bad?
Stop,
You
you two, both of you. All right, we got an episode to shoot. Corey and Tom are here from the Buddy Fun.
know? What up?
Hey.
Happy to have you. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah. Too
Spoke
long.
over the last couple months. Yeah, everything good?
Yeah.
Good as-
Can't complain, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't complain.
Yeah.
Nobody will listen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. We
Talk
got
about the good
housekeeping first. 2
So-
weeks. We got more Corys coming in. Corey
Yeah,
Austin,
dude, I'm
Pedal the
psyched.
Cause.
The best is here
It's
now,
like
though.
more Corys than I've ever met in my whole life, to be honest.
Yeah, so I'm really pumped to have them in. They got a cool virtual event coming up. And then September 7th, I think, is just going to be the three of us. We're going to announce a couple events. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw them out there just to put them into the universe, hold ourselves accountable a little bit.
I love it.
We're going to do the Progress Fitness Sober October.
Yup.
31 workouts in 31 days, no alcohol. We're still kind of working on how that's going to be interactive, but it won't be alone, you know. You won't
Yeah,
be doing it
for
by
sure.
yourself.
You might not be hip, but I basically got the ball rolling a little bit today just as a little feeler. But I just put out the weekly challenge for the kettlebell circuits Cuzzy and I are always referring to, and anybody that can beat my score will get a session comped on the house, and then we'll donate those proceeds to the
Did
charity
you put
of their
that session
choice.
in my invoice for last week?
Did you beat me?
I think I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we're gonna
Better
we're
start
splitting
cutting
Writing
hairs.
that down
We're
now.
splitting hairs here, yeah.
And then we're going to do a virtual event, We Golf. So we're going to do a We Golf tournament.
Very psyched.
It's going to be on Twitch, which I don't
Nice.
really know how that works yet, but I got a couple people. Shout out Ian Wright. Talked to him today.
Just took the words
Ian's
out of my
going to
mouth.
help. And then Clayton, who I told you I found on Reddit. This kid runs all kinds of gaming tournaments.
Yeah,
So
very
he's
cool of
happy
him
to
to
help
reach
us.
out.
Yeah, that
Shouts
was
out that
cool.
guy.
It was. I mean, shout out to the internet just for
Yeah.
existing. So I found this kid via Google search. He came up on Reddit, so I made us a Reddit account and just sent him a message. He found us on Facebook and reached out. And he
How's his
said,
Yelp?
What's
Yelp,
that?
Is his Yelp pretty solid?
Yelp?
Yeah. Any reviews
Got
from?
reviews and stuff.
You know?
I don't know,
You
man.
know, y'all you just bait
Whoa,
on his Google.
He's done it before, so I think if we can kind of copy some of what he's done and just mix in charity. He said it'd be right up his alley. He's happy to help since it's from charity and we're from Missouri. So,
Sweet.
yeah, pretty cool. And I
Okay, is he a
think
Missouri
that's
kid? Is that the connection there?
Yeah.
Is he local?
Close to Kansas City, I think,
Okay,
other side of the
okay.
state. And then our friend Kayleen is starting a nonprofit. Spoke with her, so she's going to come on the show at some point. They're really just getting the ball rolling, and it's probably slow going, but she's got good people around her.
What is it for?
So I'm going to screw this one up. I think cerebral palsy. I'm not a doctor, but I guess housing for those folks is pretty rough, and they're going to fix that. Don't want to say the name because I don't think they've copyrighted it yet, but they've got a placeholder on Facebook, Instagram. I saw all that stuff the other day. So they're doing what they can. I think everybody probably has a little more downtime where they can focus on stuff like this right now. So
Bingo.
put it to good use.
Sweet.
Exactly.
And I think that's all the housekeeping stuff we got, guys. We can jump right into Corey and Tom.
Do it.
Brand new guest,
are ya?
Buddy Fun. Yeah, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Yeah. So yeah, Buddy Fun.
Pull that
you know.
microphone a little bit
Oh
closer.
yeah, a
to
little
your
bit
face.
closer. Y'all got me.
Yeah,
All right,
there
cool,
it is.
cool. But yeah, but the Buddy Fund, man. I mean, it's just a great charity for sporting equipment and to help the at-risk youth the most. I feel like people just think we're out here just throwing in sporting equipment and just leaving them alone. We do a lot more than that than just the sporting equipment.
Sporting equipment for who?
You know, we go to Matthew Dickey's, we go to Live for Life Academy.
Youth clubs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we also do a lot more things than that to help the at-risk youth. You know, we're in communication with them. You know, we go to certain events. You know, we go to the schools as well. I mean, Tom, you just went to the Isaac Reese Foundation a few months back, right?
I was gonna talk about that a little
Yeah.
bit. Kind of tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background.
Yeah,
Who do
so-
you work for?
Yeah, for me, so I work for Anheuser-Busch. I'm a finance manager there.
And hopefully future sponsor of the show.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, yeah, we can talk
sure.
about that later on the side.
Nice
but
plug.
I got you. But yeah, I'm a finance manager there for Anheuser-Busch. I've been there for a few months because I lived in Houston a couple months back, working for Bill Finger engineering firm. But now back here in St. Louis with my fiance now.
Nice.
You know, doing big things out here.
Congratulations.
You know.
You're originally from St. Louis?
Yeah, originally from St. Louis, went to DeSmet.
Cool.
You know, local kid. Played sports my whole life, and that's why Buddy Fun really got me the juices flowing, especially after Thomas introduced me to him. So, reason I think Buddy Fun's really important is because I did sports my whole life, but like within school.
Yeah.
You know, without the sports within school, I feel like that little gap you have, you know, would be a little bit lost. So
Absolutely.
these kids who are at risk, that's usually their scapegoat. You know, us who were somewhat privileged, I would say, we had a scapegoat for, like, you know,
we were thrown into it.
You know,
Yeah.
we're thrown
Right.
into it. You know, them, you know, that's what they need.
Yeah.
You know, if it, you know, I'm saying I need it, and I had a good childhood. I can't imagine if at risk youth have it, and they need it.
For
you
sure.
know? So I have a huge advantage, and I understand that advantage, and that's what makes Buddy Fun so special to me. Is because we're helping these kids take control of that advantage. You know, even if it's for a couple hours, and they have to go back to what their, you know, unfortunate situation. You know, they still have to go back to that. You know, they get the sports for a couple hours, but then they're going back to, like, the single parent home. No home, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know what they're going through. But the sports, it's like their ticket.
Yeah.
Even though these
Yeah.
kids could be very intelligent, but the sports, it's sometimes that's their only ticket they got to get out.
And then the people they're going to hang around at those youth centers too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like those sponsors and the big
Exactly.
brothers. You know,
Yep.
the mentors. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like the most important part. You
Right.
know, meeting those older guys who are not that much older, but
Right.
you know, are doing things that they can look up to.
Yeah.
You know.
Get some mentors. Sounds like you facilitate
Yep.
a little bit of structure, and then one huge thing for sure that I can relate to, and I had a decently privileged background myself, but I kind of came from a split family home, and
Okay.
on the other side of the tracks, we'll say I got into hockey at a really
Okay.
young age, and one of the things that basically I was always a difficulty we could afford.
Yeah, that equipment's
The
expensive.
it was either the league or the equipment, or you had to play in a lower league because unfortunately they're tiered by price, those type of
Right.
things. So
Travel.
it's like it's a very thin line that can separate these kids from that, having the benefit of that structure and being able to join those type of programs, because sometimes people don't think about all of the other things that come along with just simply being able to afford the league. So
Right.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very cool.
And that's I think my main reason for Buddy Fund. I mean, it's a bigger picture rather than just give us your dollars and you don't know where it's going to.
Right.
I think Tom will go more into that, like where it
Yeah.
goes to, and what the big picture is to us.
How long have you been involved?
So I've been involved for about 3 to 4 years, but then Tom, right when I moved back to St. Louis, because like I said, I was in Houston for a bit. Right away, I got to be part of the board of directors. So, because at first I was just helping out with the golf committee, doing whatever I could, to help out with the Buddy Fund, because I understood the whole, I guess, mission that they had, and I truly believed in it. Then right when I got back home, they asked me to be part of the board, and now I'm part of the board. So I jumped on the board. Last year. Yeah, just when I got back. Yeah, so by last year, and just started the ball rolling by throwing in as many, non-for-profit organizations that like to help out other non-for-profits like such as yourself.
Yeah,
Also, speaking with sponsors like AB and other companies to help out with Buddy Fund, and they've been happy to do so. So I mean, it's just how it is. You got to hustle to get these people to
Amen.
really
Yeah.
understand and want to be willing to donate, but say the right things. Just not hand out.
Right.
You got to really let them understand and want to actually be a part of it as well.
Right.
So I feel like that's the best part, when you're preaching this mission. It's just not, we're just wanting your money. We want them to actually want to be a part of it, and then they help out at the
Yeah.
same time. And
Absolutely.
I feel like that's
It's a
the bread
long-term
and butter.
investment.
Yeah,
And I
for
will
sure, exactly.
I will add one additional thing, which is that I don't think, if you look in the grand scheme of professional sports, I wouldn't give you a direct statistic, but I would say majority of the athletes come from
Yeah.
less privileged backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I always say it's about utilizing your fuel source, which means that adversity equals opportunity if you have a healthy outlet for it.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
if these kids
Yeah.
don't have access to it in the first place,
Right. Yeah.
then that's exactly how, neighborhoods, cities, everything else end up going to shit, for
Right.
lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Excuse my French, but
Hey,
I mean,
is what
it
it is.
just
No,
is what it
it is
is.
exactly
Exactly.
right,
And
bro.
to be real about it, if they don't have healthy outlets elsewhere, then it kind of implodes from the
Yeah.
inside out. So I really admire the mission. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
sure.
So I kind of got Corey involved when I started this. So I joined back in 2016. It all started with the golf tournament. They do this annual golf tournament. One of my vendors said, "Hey, Tom, you want to play with our foursome?" I'm like, "Sure, anything to get out of the office for a day. I don't care."
Yeah.
It's the Buddy Fund golf tournament. I have no idea what the Buddy Fund is. So we go out there on a Friday, having fun, play golf, and then after the golf, there's the award ceremony. They have stuff that they're auctioning off, all that fun stuff. But you find we had one of the recipient organizations with the Buddy Fund talking there, and it's this dude. He walks on stage, and I'll never forget this. He walks up on stage. He's probably 6'3", 250. Looks like a middle linebacker. And he's like, he's about to start talking, and he starts tearing up. And I'm like, what is this? What's wrong with this dude? Like, I still don't know what the Buddy Fund is. I don't know where this money's going. And he's like, without the Buddy Fund, the kids in my organization would not be here. And I'm like, are you talking about? The sporting equipment that you guys donate allows us to stay open, allows us to put money towards other stuff that these kids need. But without that sporting equipment, these kids aren't going to come here. They're going to try to go elsewhere. They're going to try to get into stuff that they shouldn't be getting into.
And it gives them an opportunity to do things the right way.
Absolutely.
Too, and learn the sport the right way, too. You know?
That stuff, too. And it's like, it's so much more than the sport, though. Like, a lot of these kids, I just dropped off some supplies last week. We asked some of these organizations, like, hey, right now you can't have all these kids playing sports together because of the social distancing and all that stuff. But a lot of these places can still have kids come on site, and do stuff, but what they need is they need the PPE stuff. So they need the sanitizer, they need the masks.
Yeah.
So we reached out to the organizations, and 5 said, yeah, we would love some masks and sanitizer. So I delivered to 5 of these organizations, and it's like, we're so used to like giving sporting equipment to these kids, and they're so excited. And I'm like, hey kids, I wish I had like balls and like fun stuff to give you, but like I got to give you this now. And they're like, no, we're so appreciative. Like these little like 10-year-olds who like, I don't think I'd understand when I'm 10 years old. Like if this stuff was going on when I was younger, I'd have no idea what was going on. Like this is ridiculous. Like I can't have fun with my friends. Like why not? And these kids are like, no, thank you so much, sir, for bringing this stuff to us. Like we need this to have fun. Like without this, we can't even come to this organization. And like we'd be at home doing like, it's like little kids understand it. And I'm just like, that really like, it touched me. I'm like, they actually understand it. But like when after I heard that dude at the golf tournament, I'm like, I'm all in. So I reached out to the chairman, who's one of my vendors. He's the owner of 4M Cleaning Company. He's like, Tom, we would love to get some young blood here. Like we don't have anybody that's near your age. I was 25 at the time. The whole board was a bunch of middle-aged to older white gentlemen. And I'm like, okay, we need to diversify things a little bit. And since then, now 2020, we've got 2 black dudes on the board. We have 2 women on the board. We have 3 people under 30. Like, so we're starting to diversify.
Yeah, we're getting
and like,
there.
you need all these groups so you can kind of relate to everybody and not just have one. I mean, you see like a group of people and you're like, okay, what are they going to know about these kids and what they've gone through when they're younger? Sure. Everyone's heart's in the right place, but you got to have all the resources and connections to kind of bring it all together. Yeah. It's all local. Everyone has the same viewpoint. It's like, we know what we're doing. 65 organizations across St. Louis metropolitan area. We're not sending your money to California. We're keeping it here. Most people that live in St. Louis grew up in St. Louis, and they believe in what, like, they want to help the community out. Anytime you go downtown, you go to a Cardinals game, you see the poor people hanging out down there, and you're like, what could have happened back in the past that could have changed their lives? Stuff like this is what changes it. Like,
absolutely.
Corey and I lived in Soulard for 3 years together as roommates, and every day you walk out of there, you see kids hustling, like trying to like sell candy and stuff, and it's like, what could we do to like help out like
fake
around there?
Outside of just dropping $1 in a bucket,
right?
You know
it's
like how do you create a ripple effect,
right?
You know?
And it's these organizations.
And you probably have a lot of friends who are on the same wavelength as you guys, you know, who want to get involved. They just don't know how. Yeah. And they're coming up professionally, you know. Right. So like those are the right people to be networking with. You know what I mean?
For
so
sure.
even if somebody gets involved selfishly, you're still creating a good ripple. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing we're doing. So actually, last year we started the Buddy Fund Young Leaders. So, like I said, when I started, I was 25. The next person closest to me in age is probably 35, 40. I'm 20. I'll be 29 next week, actually. So I'm still pretty young. But yeah, when I joined, I'm like, I can't relate with anybody. Like, we go to board meetings, and I'm like, I don't even want to speak up because I'm so young. And I'm like, I'm gonna say something stupid. Like, these guys have been doing it for like 20 plus years. I don't know anything. Like, I just want to help the kids. I really don't care how. But like, when you start like professionally, you don't have all the disposable income to donate. Yeah. But my thing is, I want to grab people out of college, our age group that right now might not have all the money to give, but they want to buy in and be lifelong supporters. For sure. That's the biggest thing. So last year we had our inaugural event, Buddy Fund Young Leaders event at Felix's in Dogtown. Oh, that's awesome. And it was really just trying it out. I've never done it before in my life. We did an event. We had 55 plus people there. Basically sold it out the spot that we were allocated. And everybody that came had no idea what the Buddy Fund was. And it was just kind of me spitting like, hey guys, 5 minutes of like just telling it how it is. And everyone's like, wow, that's super cool. Like, and then we had a guest speaker who's on our board, Marcus Wilson. He joined our board last year, and he's a high executive of the YMCA. But he's basically one of these kids that when he started out, he raised in a family of 11 people up in Indiana. And they didn't have the resources, obviously, to take them all like the special training camps and all that stuff growing up. So he had to kind of find a way to work with these organizations like these YMCA and different ones that could help him grow in his career. He played D1 basketball. He played overseas in Europe professionally. Then he came back here, was an assistant coach for SLU basketball. Now he's an ESPN commentator. He's doing it all. Like, he's like the goal of what these kids want to be when they grow up, like seeing what he did, where he started from and where he's at now, and he's still giving back. And like, he's a part of all these nonprofits and stuff, and he's a part of the Buddy Fund. But like, he talked to our group and kind of explained like, hey guys, from start to finish, this is where we want to bring the kids, and this is kind of the goal. And everyone's seeing that with their eyes. They're like, holy crap, like this is what we're doing this for.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Tom, is that an annual event? How often are you guys throwing events to get together?
So for the young,
what's the goal, I guess, because I know in this environment it's difficult.
When we spoke earlier this year, we wanted to do kind of a biannual thing. Yeah. You don't want to put too many events, and everyone kind of just starts forgetting about it, and it kind of gets clouded. So what we wanted to do was one in the spring, one in like the early fall, when people are still trying to go out, do their thing. And with COVID, we had something scheduled at the beer garden downtown at Anheuser in August. We pushed that back to September. Now it's pushed back to October. Who knows if that happens? But that's going to be an event that we'll start promoting a month out if we're having a better feeling if it's going to be open or not. Yeah. Right now they're closed, but that's the deal. We're trying to grow this event. And now that I have Corey on the committee, I have Jonathan Babcock, who's also a part of our young leaders group. It's not just me going out there and like spitting to my friends. Yeah. Corey knows everybody. My buddy John, he knows everybody, so it's like we're thinking no less than 100 people. If I could get 55 people, it's just basically me pushing it. I mean, it's
the numbers
100, no doubt.
Yeah. It's just the right people, because you can get all these numbers, but you want to get the right people to show up. The people that are really wanting to get engaged.
People that
quality over quantity.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's the beautiful thing about having a live event, though, is you're going to get the people who actually want to participate.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they have to commit. They have to take their time to come up there. So
you have to give them some incentive too. So I mean, you spend $30, you get 2 drink tickets and like all you can eat buffet, whatever. Yeah. That's fine. We're not making any money on that. We're basically washing it with Anheuser.
This sounds exactly how like our conversation for Hair of the Dogtown. Like exactly.
No, Tom is much more well spoken than you.
Yeah. That's debatable.
A bit more eloquent, but the gist is the same for sure. Yeah.
Well, and something that we talked about a ton that we just hammer, even in our group text, every episode, is show value, right? So, like, beer garden, cool. We could all go there. Mm-hmm. It's 10 minutes from my house, if that. But the idea that, okay, we're gonna give you something. We'll buy you a couple beers. Tom's not gonna be leaning on you. You're not obligated to donate your time, your money. Just the attempt and see who comes back on the other side. I think is pretty much what we shoot for too. I mean, not everybody who's going to show up to these events is going to stick with you for those lifelong members. Right. Yeah. But if your message resonates with 10 or 5 people out of 100, and you get those and you throw those biannual events, you guys are going to be in really good shape in 5, 7, and 10 years.
Right. And that's the goal. It's a long-term thing. So, I mean, obviously you want these events to be as successful as possible, but it's kind of getting those 5 to 10 people at the event that, like, we can grab onto. And 2 years from now, they're still involved. 5 years from now, this dude's the vice president of whatever. Yeah. Then you have some pull. I mean, that's
we're trying to get those people to join the golf committee, because every time the golf committee gets smaller, and we're just trying to get more people to join the golf committee because we need it. It helps organize the golf tournament, which we'll be talking about soon.
So the fundraiser, the Buddy Fun Golf Tournament, I was going to get into that. Yeah. We do that annually, and that probably accounts for 85 to 90% of our income for the year. I mean, it's huge. We sell it out every year. It's at Forest Park. We rent out all 27 holes there, and it's sold out already. We have 210 to 220 golfers, and these are all corporate big shots that have the money to spend. And we're trying to get into the golf tournament. It's fine. It's $200 a person. It's really not that expensive for all the food and alcohol you get all day and the other stuff. It's a good time. But it's really
awesome. To the course.
It's the after stuff. We're at the auction, and then we have the funded need thing, and we're asking for more money, and you get a few beers, and it's starting to come out. And every year we've grown. So I came here in 2016 to now, we basically doubled our income. And it just keeps coming. Yeah. But the thing is, we're still we go to these organizations and we tell them, hey, tell us what you want, and we never have enough to give them. Like everybody has a wish list or like a Christmas list, and like we can give you this, but like it has to be fair and like we have to allocate it a certain way. You can't just give this organization wants $20,000 worth of stuff. Okay, we'll give it to them. But you got to play it fair, because then if you start playing favorites, it's like organizations are start not trusting you.
Right. Of the base
right.
Of the
you want to help everyone in St. Louis, not just one group.
So that's the toughest thing is you have all these organizations that are asking for all this stuff, and we can't provide everything. Yeah. The want's always bigger than what we're bringing in.
So have you made any changes to the golf tournament due to the COVID environment that we're in?
A little bit.
It's pretty much business as usual.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is with the food. So we usually have a breakfast sort of deal when you get on there. The shotgun starts at 10 a.m. People start arriving around 8. Between 8 and 10, you're having your breakfast buffet. People are sitting next to each other, networking, and that's the biggest thing is how I kind of sell these sponsorships is like, hey, we've got a group of 200 plus here that live in St. Louis, work with big corporations in St. Louis, that if they start seeing your name at these signs and start seeing them in the brochures and stuff, like that's how you start building business, and you start talking to these people after a few drinks. You kind of get those balls down, and you start like hey, how can we benefit
That's where
each
opportunity
other?
shows itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you're helping a great. Yeah.
Sorry, it's what I refer to as networking via fundraising, which is essentially I mean, I know it's not a new concept, but when I kind of rolled it out to these guys at first with my mom's first little shindig we did last year, I was like, like we got access to so many people. We come from backgrounds that we can reach out to these people, and there's always a worthy cause, like you just said earlier. Like, unfortunately, the want is always greater than what you have, but at the same time, that's also a good thing, because that means that these organizations are able to reach out to these kids, which means that you need all of that equipment and everything else, and then you just kind of get that snowball effect going. But I dig that completely.
So I think maybe what I was getting at is you had mentioned that the auction may be a little bit different this year.
Yeah, so in the past we would have, just 2 years ago, we did the auction just all live. So when you show up that day, you see this stuff.
Is that a silent auction or a real deal live auction with an auctioneer?
So you have some items that you can bid on, and you can kind of like write your name down. So it's kind of a silent auction. But there's also like the 10 big ticket items that people bid on, like in the crowd. So you got everybody kind of sitting there like.
So you got like that fast talker guy
so you
out
have
there.
Not as fast, but it's a fast talker. I know what you're talking about. But you have something like that.
Not the TV show.
Right. But last year we added this like an auctioning app where we put it out a week prior to the tournament starting, and we raised more money before the tournament started than we have ever with the auction previously. Because that many people were like seeing the cool stuff, like, I'm gonna put my name in on that, and then like you get the notifications.
Do you have to attend to bid on the auction?
No, you don't. No, so we'll be putting all things on social media, and there's a lot of cool stuff, like a lot of memorabilia you don't see anywhere, a lot of vacation spots. So like, I can maybe get a good deal on this versus paying this on the web. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll be marketing that here shortly. We probably put that up between 1 and 2 weeks prior to the golf tournament. So the golf tournament's September 18th. It's a Friday. So yeah, I mean, just be on the lookout for that. We'll definitely share it with you guys, and it's cool stuff.
If you can squeeze us in that golf tournament.
Yeah, is it sold there? It is sold
out. Yeah, that's just what we need is a third golf tournament to go to in September.
Hey, the more the merrier.
I don't even like golf.
You don't even need the golf.
Plenty of alcohol.
Yeah. Just the networking, walk around. Just give us a golf cart. We don't even got to play.
Write them down. We could probably do that.
We probably could.
But again, you hit the nail on the head. I just want to reiterate that one more time. And it's like, I sound like a broken record. I get it. But it's added incentive for something like, okay, you have a super cool trip that somebody might even bid on for no other reason. But now, what do we always say? It's for a good cause. So that is, like
and they
you
be
said,
doing it too.
plus you get get a few booze flowing, and make it look even a little extra appealing, right? Like, and I say the perfect storm of fun,
You see it. It's like back in the day when you'd like bid on stuff on eBay or something. You see the different names popping up. Like here, some of these names, like, oh, Corey's bidding on this. Forget that, dude. I got this.
It's a competition out here.
It's
savage stuff.
It got heated last year.
High rollers.
A few buddies like going after this like Isaac Bruce sign thing. I think it was Steven and Nate. Like they're both going after it, and I guess.
So you bring in a good cause, you bring in booze, and then you throw pride in the mix. And then you got a bunch of St. Louisans. I see where that goes real quick.
Throw some money to blow it all up.
Right,
for sure.
Straight up blowout.
It's fun. It's cool.
If any of us get distracted, by the way, I just want to clarify, it's looking like it's getting pretty hectic outside. So I just turned around real quick.
That's what I'm
saying. It's an ominous little shade in the sky right now, let's say.
The only thing that I'm worried about is I'm supposed to grill steaks for you fools tonight.
That is true, but we'll figure that out one way or another. All right, my fault. Back to it. I just, I thought somebody was trying to open the door, and I realized it was a wind. Yeah.
Like the way y'all turn on, I was like, I gotta get under. I'm
gotta lock the door so the wind doesn't bust in. All right, so where were we at? So we got the golf tournament.
Yeah.
So this year, I think I've interrupted Mick his main question about 12 times now, but I think the gist of it is, what exactly are you guys, I guess basically how are you adapting to the current situation as far as going more virtual, because that's what we've been discussing a lot of, you know what I'm saying, is just figuring out a niche for that, for just this, this new world that we're living in currently.
Right. So it's tough. We talked about a few different ideas, like online poker tournaments and stuff like that, but honestly we're putting all our resources in this golf tournament, and we've been talking weekly with Forest Park, making sure things are still on par with what's going to happen, and we're still on the same page. No pun intended. He caught that. But no, as of right now, everything's going to be going well. It's going to happen. Like, it has to happen.
Yeah,
unless
absolutely.
something crazy happens.
Yeah,
and Forest Park has been great. We've golfed there multiple times
this year.
They've been adapting ever since this all started.
Oh yeah, I put in a couple tournaments where they've had to adapt, and they've still had them.
Yeah, it's gonna
that's their moneymaker, though. You know, so they really want to push to have the golf tournament.
Definitely, it's a big thing for Forest Park. It's a big thing for us, and
we need that.
it benefits everybody. And they understand that. They know if anything's possible to get this thing going, we're going to do it. And we're thinking the same way. I mean, these kids need the money. And the thing is, we sold out so quickly because everyone's ready to start golfing, ready to get out there and do stuff. And like, if you're going to put like, it's actually going to a good cause, sign me up. If it's allowed, I'm going to do it.
Come out and I get the golf.
And there's a lot of people, like a lot of salespeople and business owners who haven't been able to get out and meet people and shake anybody's hand. You know, so I think people are chomping at the bits.
They still have that marketing budget because I mean, a lot of companies, corporate. When we spoke on the phone the other day, I mean, corporate, you can lean on them a lot. They have that built into their budget. You're an accountant. You can explain it better than I do.
And they got to allocate that,
that money is sometimes burning a hole in people's pocket. You have to spend it or you're going to pay taxes.
Or it's gone by
That
January.
type of thing.
Right.
You know? Yeah,
it don't roll over.
And I don't mean to deviate too far from the course either, but also right now everything that's going on, also no pun intended, deviating from the course. But, I mean, right now that's something that is not really being hit on is just in general, but of course, particularly to these lower income areas, more high risk communities, is like the structure is, disintegrating kind of by the day with the more that school gets pushed off, the more that these organized sports get pushed off, things like that. So I think you can only anticipate, more of a need as everything starts to kind of come back in line. So
I didn't really think about it because some of this sports can get canceled for them, so it's like, what's the next phase
for them? And then you just, what do they say? Idle hands, So, you got to make sure that you...
and I feel like in that situation, like, we're still going to just keep doing what we need to do, especially at the Buddy Fund, right? Still pushing, because even though sports might get canceled, it doesn't mean, like, the next season it's not going to hit.
Well, right.
And maybe they have... If it's going to be done tomorrow.
Exactly. So I feel like it just still keep pushing like we've always been doing. That's why we're still doing the golf tournament. We're still pushing for that.
Yeah.
Because we need it, and we know the kids need it. So it's just, regardless if their season's going to be moved to the next season or not, we're still going to be pushing.
For sure.
Right. That demand doesn't stop.
Right. It's just the one thing, as always, their structure piece, how's it going to affect their structure? That's, I feel, it's like the only, I would say, concern I would have.
And that's the thing. Right now, I mean, when you go to these organizations, they're not open 100%, right? But they still have these after-school care, and they have these summer programs, and it's just at a certain capacity now. So it makes it even more difficult for these kids. And, like, one cool thing is we worked with the Wesley House last week as I brought some sanitizer and stuff, and that's when the kids were like, this is super cool. But when we were there, I was like, how do you pick and choose which kids are allowed to come here? It's like, she had like 15 kids, and she's like, the way we do it is by Zoom attendance. So they actually have like these classes online where they'll like teach engineering and like science and like all this cool stuff to different like between like 5-year-olds and like 15-year-olds are doing all this stuff. And like, if you attend your Zoom classes every day, you have a better chance at being able to actually come here, play with the kids, and like, that's what kind of sucks right now is like it's
a lot of those people don't have access to
they don't even have internet, so they're also like this organization is providing hotspots to these kids and like these low income places. Like that's other things. Like we do provide sporting equipment, but we provide things that are needed. So like if you need it, like something special or something, or like something that's usually you don't need in the past, like we'll help with that. And we've been reaching out to these organizations proactively saying, hey guys, we know sports might not be happening right now, but we can also help with these products and this stuff. And we have all these resources to give.
That's why you guys are going to have to ramp it up, because it's probably going to be more expensive technology that you're going to need. You know?
And I feel like that's the one thing about the Buddy Funds. We rely top heavy on this golf tournament. And right now we're just doing our best. Like Tom's able to, sometimes get another charity organization to give us a good check, $1,500 or, something like that. Something small, but I mean, it's big to us. But we're trying to get to the point where we can somewhat balance it, because it's right now 90% this golf tournament, all of our income, and then revenue, and then
and that's not a small check to you guys. We talked about that too, man.
It's
they
big.
just recorded our call the other day because I love this multiplier.
Yep.
Tom, on the flyer that you brought, we talked about this when Josh first interviewed with us, I guess you could say. Colin, when we went to Babes, we talked about that multiplier, where the difference between, if you've got old sports equipment, I don't think you guys are going to turn your nose up at it, but really cash is king. So what I'm reading right now, since most people are probably going to be listening, is $1,000. If we can raise $1,000, we're looking at 100 soccer balls,
anybody that's watching,
80 basketballs, 80 footballs, 60 baseball gloves, 40 baseball bats, and 14 football helmets.
And the reason for that, I mean, we work with these sporting equipment manufacturers.
That's what I was
We
gonna
get
ask.
everything at cost. So if you go to Dick's Sporting Goods, spend $40 on stuff, we could have doubled that.
Right.
Yeah.
So like
Give us
that's
the
the thing.
cash.
Like, give us your money and we'll
Right.
give us
Yeah.
the resources
Yeah.
to double it. Basically,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it's free stuff. So like, give it to us.
If you got a
It's more
semi
economic.
We
truck,
appreciate the gesture,
if you
but
got a semi truck full of basketballs, you guys will take it with 200 basketballs.
Yeah,
so it,
no
it
doubt.
depends.
But it's much
Yeah, well,
easier just to bring your
depends,
checkbook, you know? How does it do? So new stuff?
We
used?
stick with new stuff just because
Okay.
we don't have the storage to. I mean, you've got people that like, hey, I've got 5 basketballs, and all the stuff adds up. So if it's like a hockey equipment, which is very specialized and very expensive, we'll take stuff like that. But if it's like I got some old soccer balls and old this, like, we're not trying to give kids old stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So it's like it's very like it's tough because we also don't have the storage to store all this stuff. We have people say, hey, I can donate all this old stuff, and it adds up. And like we've done it in the past, and like it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's
Makes sense.
It's a fine line.
It definitely
We're not
makes
gonna
sense.
say like not turn our nose up or anything, but it's like also we have to kind of.
Is there any piece of
save the
equipment
space.
that that you guys need the most?
Not really.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
No.
We're so
We get
diverse.
a
I mean,
big
it's it goes,
tennis rackets.
Tennis
you
racket.
know,
That's
we
kind of
get-
been a bigger
you know,
thing. Like they're trying to get the inner city kids into different sports because
Right.
you see all of them. It's like everyone thinks of football,
It's like the
baseball,
way to go,
basketball.
you know?
Yeah.
But like the specialized sports like tennis, we're getting kids into tennis and even hockey to an extent.
Yeah.
You got stuff like that.
That's
where,
what
like,
that's what Kobe was big on saying that. Like start getting these
Yeah,
kids
and
like
all-
in
every
golf
sport.
and start
Just
getting
don't
them
force that
into
one sport.
tennis. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Right.
big on tennis. Tennis was a big thing.
Yeah.
In a lot of his books, he does a lot of children's books.
Yeah.
In a lot of his books, it's a tennis player. It's a young tennis player coming up. Or
Yeah.
I think that was also because of burnout too. So wasn't he a big fan of cross training? Because if you play basketball, literally every
as
day
a kid. Yeah.
from
first of all,
10
yeah,
to 18.
Yeah, he was always like, I played soccer, he played
Right.
football. You
Yeah,
know, like
right.
I played everything. Yeah.
And then you're trying to get a scholarship or whatever
Yeah.
works, and you don't really feel like doing that
Yeah.
anymore.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
right,
like
right.
Definitely becomes a job rather than a passion.
you're only 18
quickly.
and you've given a decade of your life to something.
Yeah.
Especially when
You know?
you're a kid, dude.
Not to mention, I mean, just simple sports science. You're a better all-around athlete, obviously, the
Yeah.
more stuff
You
you
can do
play. So,
everything, yep.
you can have a specialty. But I appreciate things like that, too, because I was just thinking in the back of my head, I'm a little biased because I have a soccer background, come from a soccer family. I mean, unfortunately, the state of organized soccer in this country currently makes it a little bit more difficult, let's say, to join those leagues
Pay
and
for
get
play.
into the competitive. Right, exactly.
you know,
But
it's
at the end of the
unfortunate,
day,
you know.
especially in beautiful South City, I mean, there's a soccer park or a soccer field almost in every park. There's a park every couple blocks. If not, like we do, we play in the little hockey rinks or whatever else. And I mean, you need shoes and a ball, right? So things like that. I mean, even with tennis, of course, better equipment is more appreciated, but you need a racket, a couple tennis balls. In most parks, you can typically find one and within a walking distance that you can just go play
Is there any sport that resonates a little bit better with some of these kids than others? Like, does tennis happen to go better than baseball for you guys? Does football tend to do better than
I feel like it changes.
soccer?
It changes annually, honestly. I mean, you go to each organization, there's a different need or a different one. It's really weird. Like a few years ago, we had an organization reach out to us for like a boxing ring. We had never heard that before. We're someplace.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, someplace downtown, kind of a
Go
raggedy
big.
place. But like, they asked us for one. We're like, we've never done that, but let us look into it. And we ended up actually buying the boxing ring for them, and it's still standing now. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah, that's very
there's really
cool.
nothing that's like too far outside the box, and we're not willing to help. I mean, it's the money's to help the kids. So if that can help out in any way, we're gonna do it
For sure.
So.
Now I'm just spitballing at this point too, but you just reminded me.
Oh,
so
you just
I,
opened up a box.
I do some very I got into just boxing recreationally, let's say, but the Cherokee Recreation Center I feel like is incredibly underutilized. So I just think that'd be something maybe you guys throw on your list in the future.
Okay.
Maybe pair up with them because
For sure.
you go there. I mean, I think they even have a pool. I'm not sure the state of it. You know what I'm saying? They got a full basketball court, a really nice gymnasium, all things considered.
Nice.
And then they've got an upstairs that I call the Rocky Room, which is literally probably weights that were popular, like some of those old school machines
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff
Got that
like that.
mustache,
That
whatever
were
going on,
like this one.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but literally probably like when the first Rocky movie came out. You know what I'm
Man.
saying? And it used to be quite a poppin' place, and they produced a couple pretty solid local fighters. And there's actually still some older gentlemen who were
Gold gloves.
pretty big time guy. Yeah, some of them even fought, like legit pro back in the day, and at least knew other pros and stuff like that. So it's just it's one of those things. There's always more places too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think
And
that's
you mentioned
it.
soccer too a few times, and I was like, that's the one thing. Like, when I was real young, my parents and I, we lived in the city, and I lived with my aunt for a bit, but like there's no soccer fields, you know, none of those sorts.
Yeah.
So to me, that's one of the most interesting things is because like soccer's not preached because again it's pay for play.
Right,
so, I mean,
exactly.
it's real expensive, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a soccer family, but I played soccer my whole life. So,
Yeah.
and I remember one day my mom was like, you know, it costs this much for you to go to these tournaments.
To have shoes and a ball, right? And some little pieces of cardboard on your shins. Yeah.
He'll be there for all my tournaments and games.
I was never good enough, so I want to go on the trips too.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing that's cool, though, too. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, straight up, thank you for bringing up my next point, though, is like even that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you can just straight up juggle a soccer ball, keep yourself entertained.
That's how you got good at basketball.
Yeah.
Watching me.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I won't disagree. Yeah. It wasn't from playing at the boys' club or anything. But yeah. But no. I mean, honestly, you know, it's just one of those things where, like, literally, you can just sit there and juggle a soccer ball, and it's going to make you better. Like to this day, I still come home when, you know, just to cool down from workouts and stuff like that, and I'll just mess around and juggle a soccer ball, you know what I'm saying, or just kick it against the wall. So it is nice to have a field, but I mean, you know, especially around the city, you know, you see places where there's boards or just like you know, an old handball wall or something straight up, and they just got, you know, like a goal line taped on it, whatever the case may be. So you got to get a little more creative, but that's probably not the worst thing for kids nowadays, you know. So just accessibility is absolutely the most key.
This is such a cool charity, man.
Oh, I'm getting tingles for surely. I'll tell you.
There's one thing I want to kind of reiterate just before we're finishing up or whatever, but like these organizations do so much more than just provide an outlet for just sports. Like a lot of these places offer like showers, and they offer like cleaning up their clothes and like stuff that they don't have at home. They offer a meal, and a lot of the stuff when you go to school, they give you breakfast and lunch. These kids aren't getting dinner most of the time. So these organizations, they'll pick you up too. They do everything. And it's just like they tell us these stories, and I'm just like, wow, I thought we were just donating sporting equipment. But no, we're like
the cleaning of the clothes is like a big. It's crazy. It's a big deal.
And that was one big thing that I'm not sure if we put money towards it, but a few years ago, Live for Life Academy, which is down in Soulard, they said we had kids that would come in just like the same clothes and get made fun of, and it's like we asked for a washer and dryer, and somebody donated it. And they started washing these kids' clothes, and they could see them interacting better with the other kids. It's like, think if you were a kid going to school with the same stuff. I mean, I went to private school, so we wore the same uniforms. But if like you smelled like crap and like kids are gonna make fun of you, like I can only imagine what it is like now with like social media and everything else.
Right.
And there's a lot of tough kids who develop insecurities because of that. You know, and then they don't go to school, or you know, because they don't have that accountability factor, so they don't go to school. Then they start hanging out with other people who do have stinky clothes, you know, as they get older, you know, and then
they got no way to utilize the fuel source, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So if they had a healthy outlet for that, that would impact their trajectory all the way through.
100%.
And think about how many people just, you know, we got alleys in South City you can drive up and down and see. Most of them might not work, but think about how many people maybe just throw out an old washer and dryer. I mean, just, you know, it's an example of anything that, you know, people just, they don't know what better to do with it, you know, so they just toss it to the side because it's in their way. And then, you know, somebody like, I probably should have mentioned during the beginning of all this, but I am an alumni of the boys club, so I've experienced all of this directly, and I can, you know, totally relate to literally everything you guys have brought up. I mean, we had a guy, Trey, who I've been trying to find for the past decade. He was our basketball coach, and he was the greatest dude in the world. I mean, this dude would buy kids shoes out of his own pocket. You know what I'm saying? He would drive kids around to and from school just to make sure they got there.
Some of those people don't have it for themselves.
And it's just, yeah, exactly. But it's also, like, literally, he would take everybody's basketball stuff home and wash it himself.
That's awesome,
and that was because at the time, they may now, but they didn't have a washer and dryer back then. You know, just simple stuff like that you have no idea how it's going to impact these kids. And I always say, it's... like, honestly, being selfless is being selfish, because the more people you positively impact around you, that's more it's going to reverberate back to you and positively impact your community. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're doing it for a selfish cause, it's still going to have a positive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you want to,
when all shit's going wrong, you can at least say like, you know what else I did?
That.
Yeah. Even if you donated it for whatever reason, you can. Yeah, it's still going. You know, it's still for a good cause. You know, if you're going out,
that's not a karma thing. That's a very real, calculated, measurable thing.
Exactly.
If you are an active member of your community, you will do better in the community that you live in. That just makes plain sense to guys like us.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I like what we do. Is you two have done great. You've taken over the board, and we can learn a lot from you. You guys don't need us, and that's why I'm so happy to have you guys here today. But there's other groups like our friend
we
Kay.
can definitely help.
We'll take donations.
Surely can help.
We can't help, but you don't need us. You don't need to be doing
your guys'
this.
young leader organization is right up our alley. You know, like so that event you guys did at Felix's, you know, like we could definitely cooperate on a couple things.
We know a few people in Dogtown.
To your first two shows, I was like thinking in my head, like, wow, they would have been really nice to use them last year when I was trying to like promote this stuff.
Definitely some cross promoting in the future for sure. Right.
But I think where we're at, if we can get smaller groups to where you two are at right now, that's where we fit into this marketplace. I don't think anybody else is quite doing what we're doing right now, where we can take somebody like our friend that I just spoke to who's brand spanking new. How do we get them to your level? I mean, what, 58 years you guys have been doing this? Long before we were
it's long.
But which also speaks to just the need, like you just said, to promote these organizations, especially the ones that are impacting directly in the community, that are literally feet on the ground, grassroots, for lack of a better term, getting, like straight up. I mean, you've both talked about pulling up to these organizations, to these youth clubs that you guys work with, so it's not just something where it's just, words on a screen, oh, hey guys, go help out here, whatever. You're literally getting your feet on the ground, going and making a legitimate positive impact. And again, not only do we have this, and we're all, we've all done athletics our whole life. I'm an alumni of the Boys Club, and I've never heard of this organization. It's blowing my mind, to be honest, and I'm very excited to help you guys out in the future.
Two guys like who are our age are involved. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so I'm assuming you're the same age. Yeah. So I don't know. Your guys' energy for everything that you guys were saying was like the exact conversation we had at Bombers when we decided to do the
it's been eerily familiar
and
in
it was
the best
just
way.
and like to hear your guys' energy for it, it's very real and very raw, and that's so cool.
And for people to get to that point, I would say it's just like we get big time sponsors,
right?
And I feel like it's just wherever like the people that are doing these boards and charities, the connections are crucial, and the people that you bring on as well. So everyone might say, I want to join. Like, are they really trying to join?
Are you going to commit? Are you going to commit? Are you going to go to meetings? Are you going to go to meetings? Are you going to bring anybody in? Like you do get a lot of people. Like I see a lot of people who they join these advisory boards. They join these boards because they just became a professional and they need to meet people. Yeah. But you don't see them at meetings. You don't see them emailing back. You don't see them like getting other people. Posting.
We had the
stuff
same thing when I started in 2016. That was a big thing. We'd go to meetings and I would see new faces every time. And I'm like, why weren't you at the last meeting? Right. I'm not saying anything because I was a new guy. But like we did a complete overhaul. We hired an executive director and who does everything for this charity. She's the one person we actually pay as a salaried person. And we vet everybody and we get everyone's information like, hey, if you don't have enough time or enough resources
to help
out right now, just be honest. If you can't do it, maybe we can put you on the golf committee.
Yeah.
But for board members, we have 20 plus people that are like bought in. They're working on this weekly. They're not just like putting something on the resume or like, oh, once a quarter I'll maybe open up an email and help out.
Yeah.
Like this is like, it doesn't take much time. It doesn't take much of our time. Like this is an hour of our time right here. We reach out to some people via email, via phone call. Like it's not difficult.
Yeah.
But if you have the drive and want to do it, fine. But if you don't,
and
there's people around that can.
They have to buy into the end objective too. You know what I mean? Like they have to understand how they can be of value. Right. You know what I mean? They can't just be a guy who likes to talk a lot or who likes to go drink a lot of beer with a lot of friends. You know, they have to like buy in, and there has to be a reason behind what they're telling their friends about.
Because when they buy in, it's like. It's organic. Talking about
like I can hear it from you guys,
and that's what people buy in. And that's what I say for those boards, charities, buy in. And then to make sure the people that are coming in are buying in, and making sure they have connects too, though, at the same time, because again, connections is huge for you to get your revenue growth. Well,
and here's the other thing too about those people that don't have as much time. Just like again, the essence of what specifically we're trying to highlight is throwing these events that, okay, maybe you don't have enough time to, fully immerse yourself in everything. Maybe you don't have enough time to be on a board, but one Saturday when you're going to go out and have a good time with your buddies anyways. You want to come out, you know, some of the proceeds go to a good cause. You know, why not?
Feel like you're on the board.
Right, exactly.
And when you wake up hungover
you're part of something bigger
after some of these events, you know, at least like that big bar tab you're regretting goes to something.
Right. And what do you say the next morning? Oh, well, it was for a good cause.
I just need you to buy in for a day sometimes.
Exactly.
People that buy in for life, and we're banking on the folks that maybe just want to buy in for a day.
Right, but there's no way that participating even at that most basic level isn't going to chip away at you, and maybe 10 years down the road when you're a little more established, maybe when you got things together a little bit more, you say, like, you know what, that made me feel really good that day, even just drinking for a good cause.
Because like I said, you guys didn't know what the Buddy Fund was, and like that's as a young leader, like the Buddy Fund Young Leaders chairman or whatever, my thing is like I want to make sure you guys understand that like this color and like this emblem, that's the Buddy Fund, and we're trying to get that out there. This is a St. Louis like staple.
You want to be sitting down at the 120 annual,
right?
You know, saying like we did this,
and having a couple
right?
Straight up.
You remember that time we went on the Sons of St. Louis podcast?
Yeah. And then just to tell people who are in your position, who are coming out of college, you know, like this is what you have to do. You know what I mean? Like we're not looking for anybody who thinks they just want to be successful. Like we want people who know they want to be successful, they're ambitious, and who have want to commit their time to.
And that's the thing. Most kids out of college, most people want to do good.
Yeah,
they just don't know how to do it.
They don't know how to do it.
So it's like I didn't know what I was doing. So like going to this golf tournament, I did it for selfish reasons. I wanted to have a few drinks and play golf and
like
get off
we just
of work.
talked about, right?
Right. So it was fun, but then like I heard the message and I'm like, I am bought
Holy
in.
shit, yeah.
And like 5 years later, I'm more bought in than ever.
Right.
And like I'm bringing more people to get involved. I got Corey involved. I got other people, and it's like, as my recognition grows and as my career grows, this is going to grow.
Yeah. And I got 3 more involved. I can tell you that.
Appreciate that.
So we went to a playoff hockey game. Did we play the Sharks?
Yep.
We had played.
Yeah. Yep. So we were playing the Sharks. This was last year, and
lost on a hand pass. We won't get into
I was on an advisory board for the APA, the Animal Protection Association.
Oh, my fiance's on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, look at this, fellas. Universe clicking.
Yeah.
And so he had brought up doing something for his mom, right? And then so the whole game, he's sitting there spitballing about, how he wanted to get this charity up and running, and I'm sitting there like I wasn't even paying attention to the game at that point. I was like, dude, this dude just, where the hell has he had the time to think about this? Like, it just made so much sense. And then, like, the only thing that kept going through my mind was this would mean so much more than just dropping $5, $10, $20 into somebody, into a bucket somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, committing my time and then committing to these people, or committing and connecting with these people who I want to connect to professionally anyway.
Right.
To buy into something that's going to, leapfrog us into something greater in the future, you know what I mean? Like these youth, like
snowball,
you guys are doing,
just build that momentum.
And it's amazing, and now we have the freedom to work with charities like yours and other local charities, and that's why I'm so proud of this platform. So I'm glad you guys came on.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it, for real.
And then I just want to interject one last thing as well, but it's so easy to be cynical.
One last thing, and then I'm going to cut you off.
It's so easy to be cynical about like a negative domino effect happening. Like, okay, this kid in this community didn't have this opportunity, so he went and did this. He had to rob this person, yada yada. That kid, he got affected by that. The exact opposite is the truest as well. Like it's a two-way street. Like you get one of these kids, like you just spoke of the gentleman earlier, D1 athlete, come back. I forgot his name. I apologize,
Marcus,
but I mean, one of those is so incredibly impactful to so many kids because they're just they're little sponges. Like they look up to that, and that will change that. Even if they deviate off the course.
Tom was saying, like, I can't even believe these kids understood what.
Right.
Like,
well, they grow up quick, dude. Yeah, those circumstances make you grow up quick, no doubt. And that's the thing. That's the other thing too. Exactly about utilizing your fuel source. When you're like 10, 11, 12, and you understand that you're impoverished, you understand that your circumstances, everything's set up against you to fail, then you have one of 2 ways to go: self-pity or self-empowerment. And sports are absolutely essential to empowering yourself.
And the earlier you get involved, the earlier you get involved or realize that, the easier.
And that's right, because you can continue to use that fuel source and build off of it, and then just like I say, you utilize your fuel source, you set your trajectory, and then you just don't look away. You just keep going. But my main point is, if one of those gentlemen is that impactful, it's exponential. Where 2, 3, 4 guys, 5 guys who are an alumni of this organization, that can change entire communities. So it's so much bigger than just donating some sports equipment.
100.
It's amazing.
100.
Florissant and all those North County, North City, all those municipalities.
Everywhere, man. All around here, all up and down Broadway from all the way north to south. They're not far behind. Like if you go drive through Ferguson, and it sucks that it gets such a bad rap because it's not as.
It's a beautiful.
I
mean, it was up and coming too. It was about to be one of the biggest.
You drive through some of those subdivisions, and you're like, holy shit! Like, there's no way anybody would believe that.
Got gated communities and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, cool.
Guys, we're gonna pivot to wins. That was 49 straight minutes of charity work. That was
just
straight fire.
Pureness.
Absolute pureness. That's what we do out here.
That's why we talk about freestyling.
Probably because the weather, though, honestly.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm still a little intimidated.
I don't know if our next show's coming in, which kind of bums me out because this is Overtime Studio, and I like people walking out as we walk in and people walking in as we walk out.
And they usually give us Jello shots, but that's beside the point. Yeah, I was excited about you guys.
Tweezy says they're coming. Tweezy runs the show, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep this going. To be honest with you, I just think that we need to pivot to wins, and then we'll give up the hot seat. But I'm gonna throw Tom under the bus on this one. Tom, you're gonna talk about wins, which is anything you've accomplished personally, professionally in the last 2 weeks. Because if I go with Corey or other Corey, you guys will talk so long.
Yeah, boy. That's a namesake,
Corey
son.
in the corner with 3 jobs over there. At least you only got 1 job.
Just feeling the vibes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, actually, as a part of my job, I'm a commercial property manager for Cushman and Wakefield. And as being a senior property manager, you have to get your real estate license. So which Mick, I know you're well aware of all that fun stuff. So I took the exam 2 weeks ago, passed it, and never have to deal with it ever again.
Yeah,
so
congrats.
Getting my real estate license. It's a part of the job. I'm not going to be selling
First try.
First try.
You don't got to get any recertifications or anything?
That's cap.
No.
That's cap.
So I even told my colleagues where are you going this morning? I got an off-site meeting. So if I don't pass this, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. But it was freaking hard. It was tough. Every question was a paragraph long, and they're trying to trip you up every little word.
Single one.
And when I went out to the proctor, and I'm like, I did not pass this thing. And she's like, "It's your first time taking it?" Thinking she's trying to soft blow. Well, it's okay. Next time you'll pass.
Right.
She's like, "Well, I'm never seeing you again. You passed." And I'm like, almost gave her a big hug, but I'm like, "Oh, COVID. I don't want to."
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
One of those things where you're almost like, did that score it right?
Right. I mean, are you sure that I did not just fail that thing? Yeah. So, yeah.
You want to pivot over to me?
No.
Well, the two Corys apparently just got put in purgatory over here.
I'm gonna pass it to Corey LeSure.
Okay.
I don't want to those. I was just thinking those testing environments are pretty intense, and it's really tough with the people that are around you. That some people make it, some people don't. So I feel you, but nobody can relate to it, so I'm not going to talk about it. So I'm going to pass it over to Corey LeSure.
No, so I'm a finance manager at Anheuser-Busch, and I would say just the big win is just to the team. Doing these closing monthlies, financials, it's tough, especially during COVID, during Zoom calls, meeting quotas, making sure everything's done on the list. We reached 100% through Q2, which has never been done. So I would say that's just big ups to the team and how much we care about what we do. And also Anheuser giving us the tools to do our job,
and
smoothly.
You're breaking records and
we're breaking records, and you're. I said the
honestly,
team,
from the bottom of my heart, you're welcome for all the money I spent on Anheuser-Busch
King,
products.
you see this product placement right here? We're not even sponsored, son.
Quarantine.
It's just what we do, and
it was above average.
Right, and then also I'm also on the board of American Cancer Society, and we just got done doing 42 doors. So that was just we put doors all over the city.
I saw those.
You see, it's like art, and we got a bunch of artists to do it for free. Got a door, paint, something about cancer,
And how crazy of a concept that you say that, right? And it's people might think, what?
Right, exactly.
And then you see it, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, it was
totally change your whole day.
It was a big deal, and I'm just so proud that we got it done. And now, it's just on to the next project. So, Men Wear Pink. That's the one big thing that's about to come up, and I'm excited. I'll talk to you guys more about that on the side.
Definitely keep us in touch.
I'll talk to you about it on the side. Hopefully you Sons of St. Louis can join. Men Wear Pink.
We will be on it. I think we might have to have a
a
pink logo for a little bit.
I'm gonna verbally write this one down, but we could have NFGTs print up a run of pink shirts.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There we go.
Consider that one. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
We could run a little sale for American Cancer Society. That would be all it would take.
That's what I refer to as the one F cause of the NFG is F cancer. You know
Definitely.
People love dogs. They hate cancer. That's the cornerstone of this group, you know? I'm going to pass it over to Colin.mcneil because this kid is vibrating over here. He's been working his rear end off for the last 2 weeks, and I know that's for sure because he got my insurance buttoned up in about 24 hours. That was pretty nice of him.
Congrats to you.
That. Yeah. Hey, and then I tossed you my client, too. Like
hey, I got something happening. I'm just saying good for you because this is my cousin. I'm still waiting to hear back on my own insurance, and I'm an insurance agent, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, what do you mean? You got your quote.
Yeah. Oh, that's it? Okay.
You have to massage those numbers or something.
I'm saying, bro.
So what do you got, dude?
Pull it down.
Because I do push your buttons a lot, but I do it on purpose. I do it out of love. So what's happened in the last 2 weeks that you're proud of?
So I'll share a win for, since COVID started, I got this, kind of turned the page to a, COVID-19 section of my book. And every month since St. Patrick's Day, I would say, I've been up about 15-20%. And looking at the numbers from last month, I'm up 22%, and that's just my monthly quota. So very proud of that because these are very trying times. So it's been a lot more phone calls than usual, a lot more canceled appointments, a lot more trying to navigate around people's time, trying to get people to buy into this technology stuff, do Zoom meetings and stuff like that. People who would not normally be interested in doing that. There's a lot of guys who are like, I have a damn camera on my computer. Like, what the hell, Mm-hmm. So trying to teach people how to do that, and it's been really working out.
I'm sorry, who are you teaching? You're teaching
these
prospective clients?
These business owners who I've been trying to meet with, for the last couple years or whatever. They come back up on my lead list, and I give them a call again, and they give me an opportunity, but I can't go meet them, and that's where. That's where I'm strong. A lot of sales. Is when I get into somebody's office and get to sit down and break something down to somebody. That's my favorite part of the job. Right. Haven't been able to do that, but we've been working around it through a couple of different software, through our computer, through Loom and Zoom. So, numbers are up, and with having a baby, every dollar counts. So,
nice. Shout out Murph.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Murph, and shout out to my baby mama for letting me be here. In the doghouse. But yeah, that's a big win, and. Being here is a big win. Thank you guys for committing to this.
Thanks for having us.
I'm glad the group is here today. So, really thankful for that. So.
It's really working, man. This whole podcast thing started just out of the need to do something, right? We couldn't throw events. We couldn't do recess. We couldn't get out and move as nimbly as we normally do. And you're right. I couldn't be happier with the way that this has worked, the support that we get. The amount of views that we get, the amount of shares that we get, it's ridiculous, man. It just, so many people want to see us do well,